Hello and welcome back for the final round of the Bespoke Racing League here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. And what an amazing race we had previous round. We had the two title contenders, Advait Deoda and Kartik Rani, go head to head for the final two laps at Sebrings. And what an end we had to that. And this being the second last race of the season, I am pretty much looking forward to this more than anything, and it's going to be a very interesting race for sure, with these two title contenders just 8 points apart from each other, and the incident point rule stating that the driver with the least incident points at the end of the championship rounds gets 5 points added to their championship points total is held currently by Advait Deoda, and those 5 championship points to him as of now means that there is only 3 points difference between them. And that is what makes things even more interesting at this point of time, because now we do not know that would it remain with Advait Deoda or no by the end of these two races that we're going to have today. And without any further ado, I think we should get you guys on track with the grid order. And on pole, we have our championship leader Kartik Thirani and Sai Sanjay in P2. Not too much of a difference between them, and Saurabh Bandyopadhyay in P3, with Advait Deoda as championship contender in P4, Oshan Kotharia, Chetan Kurada in P5 and 6 respectively, and Munjal Savla in P7, Surya Prakash, our guest driver in P8, and Vishwas Raj in P9. Uh, of course, Surya Prakash is our guest driver for today, which means that he will not be receiving any sort of points for the championship round, and we shall now see as to what can he do from his position. Obviously, he will not be receiving any points. I think I just mentioned that, but never mind. And we are just waiting for the drivers to get on the grid so that we can start the race. But as of now, I don't see anybody on the grid yet. Or is that a wrong angle, I wonder? And just waiting on the drivers now, just. I can hear some cars on track for sure, but I think my timing screen had hanged. So that's what the issue is. But I think they're gonna go green. I'm not too sure. This is a 10 lap race, by the way, and we should be having information soon. Yeah, they are on the grid, but my timing streams are right now pretty much hanged, so I can't even change cameras. I think I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, there we go. A few map buttons, but then every driver seems to have gone off cleanly. Advait Deoda looking for that start that he wanted, and not being able to get that so far. Kartik Sarani keeping the lead with Oshan Kotharia seems to have gone deep. There has been incidents at the back, and Advait Deoda right now in P6 if I'm not wrong, and he will be looking to make some ground from there. Uh, as of now, we are not having any sort of confirmation as to what's happening. Otherwise, I'm just gonna bring this out just because my timing screen seems to have glitched out. And yeah, there we go. Other the other just getting past Munjal Savla, knowing that he needs to get past him, needs to make those overtaking moves, and he needs to make sure that he is fighting at the front at all times. Yep, there we go. My timing seems to be working perfect now. But we have Sai Sanjay and Kartik Rani not too far apart from each other, and that should come up to be a very exciting race now. As Sai Sanjay is closing in on the championship leader now, Kartik Rani knowing that this is a very long race. There are quite a lot of chances for a driver to be able to make mistakes. So is he gonna fight Sai Sanjay right off the bat, or is he gonna give him some room and not fight too hard? Obviously, knowing that it's championship contender, Saurabh Bandyopadhyay, sorry, my bad, Advait Deoda is in P4 and quite some way behind as he goes a little deep into the final chicane. which allows Sachin to just close in that little bit more. And now as I head on to the main straight, like I was saying before, will Kartik Thurani fight him or will he not? He does look to be fighting him. He is looking for that win, covering the inside as much as he can. And Sai Sanjay moving out to the outside to try and go around his outside turn one, but then I don't think that's going to be very easy for Sai Sanjay as Kartik Tharani has spun around. Kartik Tharani has spun around, and as we can get an angle on him, yes, Kartik Tharani has spun around. Advait Yodha will be very happy to see that right in front of him now. Kartik Tharani, oh, and he spun again. He spun again on hot tires, and he has completely let go of this race, and he is now starting to get back on track. I think with his spin, he had his tires a bit too hot, and maybe just tried to push too hard after that mistake. Or was there contact between the two drivers? Again, yet to be known. It is not known. But then again, now we do have a pretty long race. We do have 9 more laps, including this one. So anything can happen. As I believe we could just hear another car spin. I think that was Munju Savla who just had a spin, but otherwise the gaps are now pretty open, and anything could happen. We have sorry, my bad. Sai Sanjay in P1, Saurabh Bandyopadhyay in P2, Advait Yodha in P3. The gap between them is not pretty small at all. It's going to be a tall order for Kartik Tharani, our championship leader at this point of time, but drivers like Mujul Savla right now are making those mistakes, which is allowing him to make those close-ins into the pack. Now he is currently in 6th position, so he needs to gather some more points over Advait Yodha for him to be able to make bigger changes towards the championship table. Remember, Kartik Tharani has void his chances of getting those 5 championship points due to incident point rule, because he has not managed to start a race. So one particular race, I think it was round 3, where he missed one race at the start and he couldn't take advantage of that rule. I believe Munjul Savla letting him through. I'm not too sure of that, but it seems like he is now ahead and completely free in open air to move on and try out basically see what he is made out of in its remaining 8 laps. And we don't have too many drivers close to each other. The closest drivers right now are Saurabh Bandyopadhyay and Sai Sanjay with 2 seconds apart. The gap was 1.3 seconds if I remember at one point on the previous lap, which has now increased to 2 seconds. That definitely means that the fastest lap of the race is with Sai Sanjay, which was 6/10 quicker. So if Saurabh Bandyopadhyay could start close in a bit, which does not look very likely looking at the time just opening up a bit. Let's see what can we witness this race after that amazing previous race that we had. Of course, at a time like this, I would like to talk about what Kartik Tharani must be going through in his head. Of course, most of the drivers on this grade are real life championship winners, or at least been in the championship fight championship fight in a season. So it is not a very rare sight for these guys to be in a place where they are fighting for a championship and have probably made a mistake. But Kartik Tharani, from the position he is in, he definitely should have not made that mistake. Definitely, that is the point. The second spin is more of the problem than the first one, because I think without the first spin, he would still be ahead of Advait Yodha, or at least fighting with him. So that would have obviously put some amount of pressure on Advait Yodha to make sure he overtakes, and obviously that also puts some pressure on Kartik Tharani. But we did see a terrific battle between those two drivers in the previous race, and that is something that we would obviously want to look forward to, but I don't think that is something we will be having anytime soon. But Looking at the timing screens now, Kartik Tirani is closing in on our guest driver Surya Prakash, who is currently in P4. So I think that would be a battle to watch for sure, unless either of the drivers have different thoughts. But definitely that is something that we can look forward to, and let's see what comes out of this fight here. And we do have Advait Deoda in P3, who is around 9 seconds ahead of Kartik Tharani, who did lose quite a lot of time in the second spin and just went off track again. So he already has 7 incident points. That's Kartik Tharani with all of that going on. So with those 7 incident points, obviously the points do not matter to him much, the incident points, because of the fact that he's no longer in the race for those 5 points. But that is something that we have to look into, with Advait Deoda running P3 right now with only 3 incident points so far. But if Kartik Rani tries to push as hard as he is right now and continues getting those points, and gets eventually 17 points before the end of the race, he still has 6 laps to go, including this one. There could be a chance that he might get a stop and go penalty, which would just turn out to be even more worse for him in terms of what he has to do, because that would mean that Surya Prakash and possibly Munjal Savla also gets ahead of him. But now, right now, on lap number 5 out of 10, we do have Kartik Tharani chasing Surya Prakash, who is now closing in pretty quick on him. Surya Prakash and Kartik Tharani using very different lines on those 2 corners, as we just saw there. And Kartik Tharani is closing in. He is under a second, just 7 tenths behind him. I think we could be seeing a move going into the chicane, but Surya Prakash does make a mistake, and just before the Schumacher assist. So could we see a move any earlier? I wonder if that has compromised him on the straight line speed, because that is a place where Surya Prakash just lets him go, knowing that Kartik Tharani is part of the championship battle, and Surya Prakash doesn't want to hold him up as he runs wide a bit on the entry towards the back straight. I think he just made a minor mistake there, but he has let Kartik Tharani go, knowing that he is part of the championship battle right now, and that is something that is well kept in mind by Surya Prakash. And he will be a full-time driver, if I'm not wrong, in the next season. We haven't got a complete word from their side, but that is something we would look forward to. We are always looking on expanding the grid size. Of course, so there are times where some drivers couldn't make it to the grid. For example, we do have Shan Ali Mohsin and Chetan Surineni couldn't make it to the grid, and after the latest update on iRacing, unfortunately, Vishwas Vijayaraj was also one of the drivers, I believe, who couldn't get onto the session, even though he's not that far behind. He is only 3 laps behind. Oh, my bad, sorry, he's 4 laps behind the car in front, who is 1 lap behind the rest of the field. He has been lapped by Sai Sanjay, so yeah, he is not being able to join the session. But now with only 5 laps to go, there is 9.8 seconds between the other, virtually impossible at this point in time with the pace the drivers are doing, which is very much the same. Kartik Tharani is fastest at 1 minute 50.58. 6, and Advait Deoda is a 1 minute 50.967. So they are pretty similar on time. And touching that point, I think the fastest lap of the race is with Sai Sanjay, which is a 1 minute 50.119, and definitely he has already racked up quite a lot of points with that. And of course, Sai Sanjay could also be another competitor for the championship. I'm just gonna pull out the points table in front of me right now to give you guys an update as to what is going on in the points table. I'm just looking for it. Just hold on one moment. Yeah, there it is. And looking at the points table now, it seems like we do have Saurabh Bandyopadhyay in P3 of the championship with 90 points. So yeah, Saurabh Bandyopadhyay and Sai Sanjay are in a battle of their own for P3 in the championship as of now. And Sai Sanjay does have the second highest incident points, second lowest, should I say. But in this race, he's got zero so far, and Aditya has got three. So we have to see how that turns out to be. And Sai Sanjay has equal number of fast slaps as Karthik Tarani, four each. And by the looks of the current table, Sai Sanjay seems to be getting one more if it stays as it is right now. And there is a 7 point gap between Sai Sanjay and Saurabh Bandyopadhyay, but with the current results, as if they finish as they are, then Sai Sanjay will be leading by. Oh, would he be leading? Sorry, my bad. He would get 15 points for winning, and Saurabh Bandyopadhyay would get 10 points a second, and 12 points a second, and Sai Sanjay would also get 1 point extra for the fastest lap if it stands as it is. And that would mean he would gain 4 points. It will all come down to the last race, where Sai Sanjay would have to finish at least at least two positions ahead of Saurabh Bandyopadhyay, and provided he has the fastest lap. So that is something that he will have to look into, and this should be an interesting battle going into the last race. We do have two drivers fighting for P1, and we have two drivers fighting for P3, and this would be a very interesting one because Sai Sanjay, the one in P4 fighting for P3, is one position ahead of the driver in P3 in the championship, and Aditya currently P2 in the championship is one place ahead of the guy in P1 in the championship. So this is going to turn out to be a very, very interesting one. And coming to the point of the championship, Aditya, if everything finishes as it is, like I said, Sai Sanjay does get the fastest lap, which means that Aditya finishing P3 gets 10 points, and Karthik Rani finishing P4 gets 8 points, which also means that the gap between them will come down from 8 points to 6 points. But if Aditya manages to hold on to those incident point rule, then that gives him 5 points more, net 5 points more, which means that he would be only 1 point behind Karthik Rani, and that would make a major deal in the last race. As even if Aditya wins the last race along with the fastest lap and Karthik Rani finishes second, they'll be equal on points, and Karthik Rani would still win the championship as he has a lot more wins than Aditya at this point of time. So by virtue of more wins, Karthik Rani would be the winner, but this is going to be an absolute finale and a half that we're going to have in the final round, the final race. That will be at 7:30 p.m., which is pretty much 45 minutes from now. So stay tuned and don't go too far off. We will be in this race for a while. We will continue this single stream all the way to the end of race 2. So don't forget to come back in at 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, which is pretty much 2:30, I believe, 2:30 p.m. GMT. Sorry, my bad. 2 o'clock GMT. Yeah. So that is that as we head into the final couple of laps. Let's have a look at what Sai Sanjay is doing. He did up his pace quite a lot and has done 1 minute 49.4. So has Karthik Rani. He's done a 49.7, but that lap was invalidated as he had gone off track. So with that kept in mind, that does not count on his best lap. If Karthik Rani gets the fast lap this race, then the championship will be a little bit more close by one single point. But definitely Aditya has still a chance in the last race. You never know what incident might occur when, and that is something that you definitely want to see. But now we are heading towards the final lap of this race. This has been a fairly lone race after that incident with Karthik Rani in the first couple of opening laps, where he spun on the main straight while fighting with Sai Sanjay, and then spun going through turn 2 and 3 as he tried to get back on track. But now as we ride on board with Sai Sanjay, and he breaks into the first corner just before 50, carrying quite a lot of speed into turn 1, using as much wide, being as wide on the entry as possible, to then cut back in onto the apex for turn 2, and now at turn 3, using keeping it as left as possible, making sure he's not compromising too much and lose out on the right instead, and coming to turn number 5, the fast left-hander, he's kept it pretty clean, and turn 6 being the next right-hand hairpin onto the straight. It's been a pretty clean lap so far, but Saison is showing us why he's in the lead of this race, and using as much entrance on the track, using the grills and for the drainage on the entry for maximizing space. Is obviously Schumacher SS in this current gen of Formula 3 cars, and iRacing is pretty flat as he brakes just after 100. Make sure you don't use the AstroTurf on the outside, or else you will spin your car. And pretty high speed corners. This track is very wide as well, so that does give a lot more room to play around with the car, but definitely the last chicane that comes up is not as wide as you think, so this does catch a lot of people out. We did have quite a lot of drivers mess up that chicane in the practice sessions, but now as Sai Sanjay comes through the final corner to finish the race, he has come home to now win this race in P1. And in P2 we do have Saurabh Bandyopadhyay just coming across the line now, and there he is. We do have Advait Deoda in P3. If you could switch to him, his view. There he is, Advait Deoda, and that's Kartik Tharani coming across the line. Surya Prakash, now our cash driver, coming home in P5. Not too bad for his first race in the league. Definitely, we sure hope him back for season 3. And we definitely will would love. Wait, hold on. He's not finished the race. I don't think that's the line. I think the line was before. I'm not too sure. Might have finished it. I'm not exactly sure on that, but let's hope he's finished the race there. And as we have Munjul Savla and Oshan Kothare finishing the race, Chetan Purada finishing the race now. Not there he is. And yeah, there we go. I think we have all the drivers now who have finished the race. Let's have a look at him. Yeah, there we go. He's just coming through the final few corners to finish this race, and okay, he's head to the pits. Okay, I don't know why he's done that, but anyway, without any further ado, I think we can now look at some results. So let's get that out of the way and bring in the results. So there we have Sai Sanjay in P1 after 10 laps of racing, 8.3 seconds. The gap to P2 in place of Saurabh Bandyopadhyay, and Advait Deoda in P3. Just 13.5 seconds. I say just, but that's quite a lot in racing terms. Behind Sai Sanjay, Kartik Tharani in P4 after that double spin on lap number 2, and finishes 21.5 seconds behind Sai Sanjay. Surya Prakash, a guest driver in P5, not too bad showing for him for his first race in the series, with Munjul Savla in P6, 53 seconds behind Sai Sanjay. Oshan Kotharia in P7, Chetan Kurada in P8, Vishwas Vijayaraj in P9. Obviously, I don't think he did finish. He did start the race because I believe he had some issues joining the session, and his game kept on crashing. So I hope he comes back strong for next race and shows us some strong showing. But for now, I think we're done here, and I would definitely love to see you guys next time. But now I'm gonna leave you guys with the results so you guys can check it out.